mentioned that you were going to. Thank you. I appreciate it. And you've made, if you could, let's see, Doug, if you could make me a host as well, or a co-host, that would be great. The Doug at Global Chamber, that would be outstanding. And then just in case, I'll be able to do some control. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This is my name's Doug Brunke, by the way. If you don't know me, I think I know most or all of you. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. This is one of our favorite conversations. We do it now twice a month. We used to do it only once a month, and actually we used to do it no times a month. This is an event and a meeting that is for our members to spotlight what's new, what's different, what's happening in their world, so that ideally you are more aware of them and what they're doing. And then conversely, if there are requests or needs that they have, hopefully you can help and support what they're doing. It's a spin-off of the League of Extraordinaries. It's a different kind of a meeting where it's only members attending. That's that other meeting. That's had been happening a couple times a month, second Tuesdays and final Fridays. And now the League of Opportunities is doing it twice a month on Thursdays and Fridays, typically the third Friday or third Thursday of the month. So that's way more information than you need. The important thing is we've got 5 or 6 speakers, and then I think 3 quickie speakers, meaning there's some updates that they have to share that we're going to be talking with them about. Catherine O'Connell, when she's in the room, she always goes first because she's an extraordinary leader based in Tokyo. She established the first foreign-owned law firm by a woman in Tokyo, and maybe in Japan. I always forget that wrong. One or the other. Nonetheless, she's a pioneer in Japan. And if you spend any time in Japan and know Japan, foreigners, the Gaikokujin are respected, however, definitely different. And undoubtedly, the stories she tells over a glass of wine are fascinating, because she's been through a lot and she's had to be a lot to get to where she is, which is not just helping companies be successful from a legal perspective, but she's now on boards, and very significant boards. And I know, Catherine, that's a key part of what you're interested in doing going forward. And so hopefully we certainly will learn more today about it and maybe be able to help. Catherine O'Connell, you are extraordinary. Thank you for sharing your information today. Please go ahead.
Wow, what an intro. I just love how you do that, Doug. You make me feel like this is the first thing I'm doing this morning. It's Friday morning in Tokyo, where I'm based, and you just fill me with joy with those sorts of comments. It's lovely to have them reflected back. Yes, I'm in Tokyo. I'm wearing red and white to represent the flag of Japan today. I've got a couple of events we are continuing International Women's Day this week, and so I'm rocking up with Japan support colors today. Yeah, I'm Tokyo based. I'm a senior business lawyer. I am a coach mentor with local and international practice here, doing corporate commercial work. I also do a lot of work now coaching and mentoring legal professionals and CEOs. And I do some events here where people ask me to grab the mic and be an MC. And I do a lot of that kind of thing as well. The reason I get to do that a lot is because I'm a podcaster, so I'm on the mic a lot. I'll put both podcast links in the chat after I finish. And as Doug mentioned, yes, I'm an independent board member on the boards of Fujitsu and Toyota Motor Corporation. And those are their first foreign female appointments in history. And so I'm delighted to be part of the historical nature of Japan, hence me not being a Japan basher, being very much a Japan supporter, and wearing their colors today. So we've been given a list of things we should talk about today. And one of them is, who do I want to connect with? Well, obviously, you can tell now that my first bucket of clients are people who want a law firm expertise in Japan. Typically for my work, they are people who don't have a lawyer on the ground here in their businesses. Maybe in industries like manufacturing. That's my real sweet spot. I love manufacturing companies, people who make things. and distribute their products and services. For example, I help a bubble wrap manufacturer here who supplies Amazon, but they don't have a lawyer in their business, even though they've got a huge business here. So I'm their lawyer for them on a part-time fractional basis. That's the kind of thing I do on one side of my business. The other side, as I mentioned, was coaching and mentoring. And I never knew I would be this for anybody, but I get asked a lot to do it. So I've found it's actually quite a vocation for me, and I love doing it. So I help people who want to be on boards, how to coach and mentor them to get a board position. And also for groups who are coming to Japan, a lot of people now ask me, can you speak to us about corporate governance in Japan? Can you speak to us about how to do successful business in Japan? So I do a lot of that. It's what they say, that you do your thing that you're really good at, that's a natural thing that you think everyone can do, but not everyone can. So I actually find those things really passionate. How can I help people? Well, most people who do need a lawyer in Japan at some point, but most people do not have a lawyer full-time on their payroll. And so I'm the kind of add-on to the business who can help people on a fractional basis. As a first-hand experience here for 20 years in Japan, I kind of love to blend law and business together. So I'm a little bit different in that I will give a business view of the law. You can go to any other law firm in Tokyo and Japan and get the black letter law advice, but I try to blend the business aspects into the law advice that I have. How can Global Tribe help me? Well, you probably know people who need this kind of service in Japan, who don't know where to go first. And with most lawyers, I'm the same. We don't do every kind of law. I stick to my lane and I do commercial law. But being here 20 years, I've built up a network of really good lawyers who are the smaller end of town, but really savvy in the areas that they work in: IP law, family law, employment law, which is a big thing in Japan. We can't, or I can't do that work here, but I know who can help you. So I can put them your way. So that's the kind of thing I can do. A lot of people come to me for divorce work, and I mean, I don't do that. It has to be done by a Japanese lawyer, but I know who you can go to. That's if you're in Japan, right? If you need that kind of work. And who am I hoping to meet around the town is CEOs, maybe outside of Japan, country managers in Japan who need that kind of commercial work, people who are coming here. There's a group coming from India shortly, CEOs of major businesses in India, and through one of the big 4 accounting firms, they've asked me to do a presentation to them. I'm super excited about that because that's kind of my sweet spot again, to help people come into Japan and not do some faux pas when they're going around all their businesses, to connect and help them get started really well. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I think I might just pause there, Doug, because I'm probably at 5 or 6 minutes already.
You're exactly at 5 minutes. You're amazing.
Wow.
You did that brilliantly.
Thank
And that
you.
allows us time to have an open question and also ideas. So this is your role for the audience. This is your chance to ask questions for Catherine and have advice or ideas. Who would like to go first? Feel free to either raise your hand or just unmute yourself and go ahead. Who has a question? Don't be shy. And
I'll do one, Doug.
Great.
We do have we support a client. They're Japanese based, but we support them in the US. And I was just wondering, where in Japan are you based? Tokyo, or and also just wanted to say hi. And in the future, hopefully we don't need a lawyer, but yeah, we do service those clients out of Japan.
Okay, Alex, what's your company and tell us a little more.
Yep. So I run a company called Safety Excellence Group, and we provide compliance support, whether it be audits or staff augmentation as well. So, our clients basically, they do automated material handling systems, and they manufacture in Japan, and then they ship out throughout the world. So we are currently supporting them at an install in the US.
Yeah, sounds amazing. It sounds like you're falling through the funnel of, as you said things, I was thinking, yes, could help you. And The thing is, I am based in Tokyo.
Okay.
I'm originally from New Zealand. That's why you're getting a
Mhm.
little bit of a twang here when I speak. Let me see. We hope we don't need a lawyer. I actually think the other way round. I think you do
Mhm.
need a lawyer to help you set up and get the commercials done at the front end. And most people make a mistake in Japan by getting in, get going, and then think about the paperwork later.
Yeah.
Because you're so busy setting up and getting started, you haven't got the agreements in place, the arrangements in place with the people you're dealing with. And I find that a lot of people come to me urgently that they need documents. So that's the thing. Yes, you do need a lawyer. I think you mean you don't need a lawyer for litigation, and I certainly hope you don't
Correct.
need that. And I don't do that, but I know who can help depending on what's
Okay.
happening. But yeah, sounds exciting. Let's have a chat some other time on Zoom together. It'd be great to hear a bit more.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alex. Who else has a question? Time for one more. One of the things that you didn't mention, Catherine, is your podcast, which is, or maybe I missed it, but it's fascinating. So tell us a little bit more about
Sure.
what in the world, what possessed you to be so brilliant in that area as well?
Never know. I think sometimes if you go looking for things, you don't find them. Like when
Amazing.
you go shopping for clothes, you don't find them. When you're out there not searching for something, you find something that you need. And so this came to me basically, this sort of, you can be a podcaster. And so I have two podcasts. I've put the links in the chat. One is my podcast that is interviews with women in Japan who are lawyers, Japanese and foreign lawyers, how they've done their career here, how they've managed to get through challenges, how they negotiate their pay, how they do all kinds of things in Japan. That's the first one, called Lawyer on Air. And the second one is Jandals in Japan. That's based off a New Zealand word for beach sandals, I think you might call them. A jandal is a beach sandal. It's just a reference to New Zealanders who are doing business in Japan. But the tales that they tell are really across the board for how to be successful in Japan, and they're super fun, and it's a bit more lighthearted, that podcast. So Lawyer on Air is in 3 years activity, and we're heading on the way to 100 guests. And Jandals in Japan is just about at 50 guests. So that's 50 people who can talk to you about, well, you can listen to their stories about how they've been successful setting up in Japan. Alex, it could be quite a good one for you, especially.
Yeah.
You're so involved helping clients. You're doing your board work. You've got 2 podcasts with all those that are going on. How in the world do you manage all of that?
Well, I think that you can never do something yourself, and so I have a support team. So for the podcast, I have Jane Nakata, who is my manager, producer. She does all the tech, cuts it down, cuts out the ums and ahs, and people who've made little mistakes along the way. So she does that for me. I could never do that. And that was the thing that put me off doing it, is that I thought I had to do all the legal tech. No, you need people to help you in a business. So that's what I have. On the boards, basically, I am the one helping there. In my law firm, I have lawyers on contract, so Japanese lawyers who help with the work that I'm not able to do. So I manage it by having others help me. And I think that's the only way, really, that you can be successful in business, is have a team to help you.
Brilliant. Where's your favorite wine bar?
Ooh, there's quite a few at the moment, but ooh, you've got me there. One of my favorites, I guess, would be the Toranomon Edition Hotel. They have a super lovely bar that's got about 500 green plants in the foyer. So when you come in, you've got this sort of breathing fresh air, and it's surrounded in greenery. And I love it because it's a sort of square bar, and you can just sit around the bar. And they have beautiful cocktails, great staff, and particularly it's because it's amongst the green, and designed by Kuma Kengo, who also designed the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo. It's beautiful. So Karen, if you're here, we're going there.
That's right near the U.S. Embassy, and that actually was my first neighborhood, because DuPont was
True.
headquartered in a Toronto, and right behind the
Yes.
Okra Hotel there. And
That's
I would
exactly where it
spend
is.
the evenings, the global communications we do between Geneva, Wilmington, Delaware, and Tokyo. I was the Tokyo lead. It was always midnight. So I'd always be like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I'd stumble out of the building there and walk past the Okura and back to Moto Azabu, where we live. So I know that area too well. And
It's
so it's good
exactly
to
where
know.
it
So
is.
definitely.
You're right. Okay. When are you coming, Doug?
I hope this year. I
Good.
hope this year. Yeah.
Good,
So
good. Great.
so it's been too many years pre-COVID. So I'm looking forward to it. We also talked, by the way, for Global Chamber of a Mount Fuji run, and climbing Mount Fuji for my second time, but a number of other people are interested. So if you want to climb Mount Fuji and are interested in that, let me know. Send me an email, because I have a list of about 7 or 8 people who are interested, and we'll give it a go. It's a bucket list thing, definitely something to do. So thank you, Catherine. You are amazing.
Thank you. I just do what I do. So I'm looking forward to hearing everyone else.
Very good. Well, let's do a quick a check-in with Jung Lim of Cultural Vistas. Cultural Vistas has been a long-time partner of Global Chamber. They know how to do internships and handle interns, and we invariably almost always have an intern at Global Chamber from Cultural Vistas, and we have one today, Jiyoung Kim, who's not on this call, but she's an intern that we've received from Cultural Vistas. There's another group of interns that they're looking to place. Joan, are you there? And could you give us a couple minutes of like what's going on and how can we benefit and how can we help?
Yes, sure. So as Doc mentioned, we have Korea West program, which is a partnership between U.S. State Department and the Ministry of Education in Korea. So it's a strategic partnership between the two countries to increase international exchange opportunities. And these students are funded by the Korean government, and they receive a stipend and they receive support to come to the US, and they complete language program and do an internship afterwards. We have a short-term program and long-term program, and it rotates, so it can be a little confusing. But this cohort that we received early this year, they completed their language training for 2 months, and they just completed their language training early this month, meaning that they need to now start their internship. We have, because of the short period of time and the number of participants is 54, which is a lot, we have been struggling a little bit trying to place these interns because of a lot of their fields as well. And also Korean government doesn't want us to place more than 1 intern at the same location. And we have 22 long-term interns that are currently interning, meaning that including Global Chamber, we couldn't place more interns on top of the current intern at the same organization. So that's been an additional challenge, that we cannot touch 22 organizations, and we have to kind of place them at other organizations beyond those 22, which has been kind of challenging. We have a lot of engineering students and some sort of like chemistry type of students. In the past, they were accommodated by universities many times, because universities will have those majors. So some professors or university labs will welcome those students, and students will do some research or some like lab work as well. But this time again, because it's March and some universities are saying that they are not going to be on campus during summer vacation, because their internship will be for 12 weeks to 16 weeks, 3 to 4 months. And it needs to, if it starts now, then, it's next for 3 months or 4 months. So it kind of goes into June and July. So as long as someone is on campus, it should be okay, like someone who can supervise. But, some professors want to take off the whole summer and want to go somewhere, then they cannot accommodate this intern. But in the past, universities have been really good placements for us. So if I share some of the fields, we have, if I could just like, I shared this list with Cesar, and I think he was sort of like looking through the list, but we have like genetic biotechnology and applied statistics, architectural engineering, fiber material engineering, philosophy and French language, urban planning and engineering, environmental biotechnology or pharmaceutical biology, public administration and business administration, urban sociology, urban cultural content, and video and media for this participant, and material science and engineering, and some like French and European studies and landscape architecture as well. So these are some of the majors. We created a list, sort of like Excel spreadsheet with these majors and link their resumes. So I'm happy to share this with Cesar after this, but if you are in these fields and would welcome a Korean student who's sponsored by the Korean government, because it's a short term, there is no need for you to pay the interns because they do receive stipend from the government. If it's a long-term intern, we do encourage to provide some sort of stipend, whether, you know, at least like some support, because if it's a long-term, government funding is limited. But if it's a short-term, students don't mind getting unpaid internship because it's only 3 to 4 months. So again, it'll be a free intern. And these are highly qualified students from Korea. I think Doug can speak for that. So yeah, the timeline is crunching because we want to place all of these participants by the end of this month. And we have about 15 that are still sort of like struggling to get placed right now. So any
So this is for companies in the US.
Yes, it can be in the US anywhere, but we do prefer some city environment because you know, not everybody is able to have a car, right? So because these are international participants, so that's why universities have been really good, or institutes, because they have sort of shuttle bus or some public transportation within their campus. So yeah, anywhere in the US. I mean, we can consider not public transportation, no public transportation area as well, but we do prefer some areas where they can have some mobility, because otherwise it can be a little challenging for the participant.
It's a fantastic program. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts? And if you have some ideas, either for yourself or companies that are in the areas that Jung mentioned, please connect in to either me or Cesar, and we can provide the list as well. They all are really all talented. We've had many, probably at least 10, I would imagine, over the years, and they've all been superstars. Thank you, Jung. Really appreciate you sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Jung is based in Washington, D.C., just for your information. So let's now go to Singapore and Nasri Mood. I saw a message from you, Nasri. So hopefully, are you able to speak?
Yes, I am, Doc. And hi,
Awesome.
everyone at Global Tribe.
I think it was just a few hours, you and I, a few hours ago that we were texting, and I think I was thinking to myself it was like 2 in the morning or something, maybe either last night or the night before. Nasri, I'm not sure, sleeps, or he finds maybe creative ways to sleep. He is world renowned for his artificial intelligence expertise. He and I have known each other for certainly over 10 years. He was coming to the US, and I got to learn about him and what he was doing. And at that time, his ideas were way ahead of the market. And I think that was largely my feedback to him, is that it all is amazing, but it's probably a little too early. So he went back to the drawing board, and after a few years, he resurfaced, and he's brilliantly put together a business model around something that everybody needs to implement in their business, artificial intelligence. And you've created the Center for Excellence around Artificial Intelligence based in Singapore. Nasri, what should we know about what you're doing? How can we help? Who would you like to meet? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Doc. And once again, welcome to everyone at Global Tribe and Global Chamber. So basically, going through the list of questions, we aim to connect with organizations seeking to enhance their environmental, social, and governance reporting practices, or what you call ESG, regardless of their industry or size. So we are very much industry agnostic or sector agnostic. So whether you're an MNC or a small, medium enterprise, if you prioritize sustainability and social responsibility, we are here to collaborate. And how do we help that prospect, or how can you help us? So our expertise lies in leveraging AI and data analytics to streamline and enhance ESG reporting processes. By partnering with us, organizations can benefit from advanced technology solutions that facilitate the mapping, right, accurate mapping of your business activities to ESG and sustainable development goals frameworks. So what solution do we bring, or what pain do you solve, right? So essentially what we need to remember is that it has become mandatory for public listed companies all over the world to, who encounter challenges in ESG reporting, including number one, data collection complexities. Number two, disparate reporting frameworks. Third, stakeholder demand for transparency. So public listed companies, the board of directors, the C-suite management, they grapple with aligning their diverse business operations with ESG goals, thereby lacking standardized metrics and facing regulatory scrutiny. So it's a major pain point faced by PLCs in various parts of the world, including in Asia. So balancing financial performance with ESG objectives poses a significant challenge for these PLCs. Now, how do we solve this, right? So our proprietary AI solution automates the analysis of both structured and unstructured data, allowing organizations to generate comprehensive and insightful ESG reports efficiently. For example, we have helped a manufacturing company track its carbon emissions across its supply chain. A bank or financial institution identify opportunities for responsible investing or lending, and a tech startup that measures its social impact on local communities. So we cover both the three of the components, right? ESG across their 60 plus metrics and 200 over sub metrics efficiently. Now, example of how AI is being used in ESG reporting and how we help organizations enhance their ESG reporting goes like this. So ESG reporting with AI streamlines the data aggregation, the pattern recognition, and the predictive analytics. So we use a technology called natural language processing. So if Doug knows us even before the advent of ChatGPT, we were around 16 years ago. So we basically developed this NLP to extract insights from textual data, while automation simplifies reporting. So we analyze sustainability metrics, predicting regulatory impacts, and automating customized reports. So things that take 6 months to do with 30-man team can be done under 3 days with just 2-man team. So that's how extreme AI has been in helping to shortcut the process without jeopardizing or without affecting the quality of reports in an accurate, transparent manner. So how else can Global Tribe help us, right? We welcome collaboration with the Global Tribe to raise awareness of the importance of social impact reporting, especially for the regulated entities, right, in stock exchanges, amongst others. And we wish to foster a culture of corporate sustainability. And together we can really amplify the message of responsible business practices and encourage more organizations to prioritize ESG as well as SDG initiatives, Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Now, is there a specific opportunity we bring to the table? We are open to exploring various opportunities for collaboration, such as joint webinars or workshops on ESG reporting best practices. We can co-author thought leadership articles. We participate in various industry conferences and events. And we certainly encourage organizations to run some POC, proof of concept, and pilot programs through the use of AI for them to familiarize better in terms of how AI can be used to speed up the process of ESG reporting. So with that, thank you, Doug, and everyone here for giving me an opportunity to share my little experience here.
Brilliant. Nasri is always ahead of his time, and now the time has arrived to Nasri's technology and methodology, and it's absolutely brilliant. What questions do people have? Please go ahead, unmute yourself, and just ask away. You mentioned about banks, and I was thinking of Bank of America with Karen. When you've shown what the system is able to do for a banker to be able to go through a variety of different businesses to determine, whether this is a bankable client or someone, at what size loan would make sense, and then where should the company be going. It's fantastic. Anybody have any questions for Nasri? One thing I'm noticing here, I think I saw Diana White in the room, and I saw Jermil in the room. I don't know if you guys know each other, but you're on either side of the Throgs Neck Bridge, because Jermil is in Elmont on the Long Island side, and on the other side, not that you're there anymore, Diana, but that Bronx, that co-op, or at least in my head, that's where you're from, on the Westchester side of the Throgs Neck Bridge. You guys are from a very close proximity to each other. So if you don't know each other, definitely check that out.
Well, Jermil and I actually introduced ourselves to each other in the chat, and then we took it offline to LinkedIn, but I had no idea that we had that New York connection. So I'm super excited to talk more about that with her. Thanks, Doug.
Having crossed the Throgs Neck Bridge way too many times, I know both of your neighborhoods. So awesome. I'm glad you guys were able to connect. And with all the international work that you both do, Diana has actually she's on our Global Chamber Phoenix Advisory Board, and she's been leading our board on a strategic mission where over the last couple months she's facilitated us now coming together. We're getting together, I think, next week, and coming together to the final conclusions and now implementation of the strategy. Brilliant facilitation. Thank you, Diana. Any thoughts about what Nasri presented here? Was it clear to you, Diana, or to everybody else about the value of what he's doing and with using AI?
Oh, absolutely clear. As a fanatic of this, I want to pick his brain so badly. I don't quite have a use for it yet. I'm still having ChatGPT help me write reports, so I'm not where he is yet, but I am fascinated at what he's going to be able to bring to institutions.
Diana also works with a lot of different companies, like with incubators and things like that. And that's Nasri, for those kinds of applications. Do you work with either universities or kind of nodes of opportunities? We mentioned about banks, but are there organization kind of nodes of activity that makes sense for the solution that you've got?
Right. So everyone has some inclination or some relevance for ESG, whether we do good for regulatory reasons or we do good for our own, corporate mission and vision. The point is any of the activities that any business does, regardless of the size or industry, has a certain mapping to any environmental, social, or governance causes. For example, if you're a bank and you believe in diversity, you believe in serving the underbanked, you believe in helping SMEs become bankable or help them to finance their operations. So this covers a little bit more on the social part. So social part meaning that you're even the SDG, quality of life, you're trying to uplift, create jobs. So anything that you do has that mapping onto the ESG. But the problem that people face, or businesses face, is that they are not able to articulate or communicate that to their stakeholders, especially their shareholders, the public, right, the government bodies, amongst others. So at the end of the day, whether you're a bank or whether you're an SME, you still do good, right? You can certainly reflect that you have done good, and the philanthropic as well as impact investments is a $1 trillion market. So in Asia, for example, if you are seen and actually helping out in any of the ESG matrix and have it certified or recognized, you get investments or even funding dollars from investors who believe in impact investing. So having that ESG stamp is not just about branding. It's just not about, feeling good about doing something good, right? So, but it has an implication on how financiers view you, investors view you, and how they basically support. They have actually funds, right, that actually invest into ESG aligned companies. And likewise, companies that are seen to be ESG centric in public listed companies tend to experience higher liquidity and higher trading volume in their stock price. So if you're an SME or a startup, and if you want to attract, a certain supporter, in the, from the likes of the VCs and the PE who believe in ESG based companies, then you tend to have higher chances of getting funding from such groups of investors. So these are just some of the many examples of the benefits beyond just branding.
Chris Bennett, who is in this space as well from a legal perspective, and so Chris, I don't know whether you can chat or respond to what you're hearing here, but there probably is some synergy here with what you're doing around the world as well. So hopefully we can get you guys connected if you don't know each other already. Thank you, Nasri. Really appreciate it. Early morning in Singapore, and 24/7. Where right now are some of the growth markets for what you're doing beyond Singapore?
When it comes to ESG reporting in Asia, of course, there's the Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, as well as Cambodia, various parts of ASEAN and India. They are big on ESG reporting now. Of course, in the US, in EU, right, in UK itself, the pace to adopt ESG-based reporting, which has been very much affected by a lot of greenwashing. People who claim to do environmental good, but they are basically doing a lot of greenwashing effects. So the need for transparency, the need for social impact reporting, the need for very independent, objective, and meticulous reporting becomes key. So while the opportunities lie greatly in these markets I've mentioned, it is important to balance the perception of how some corporations actually took advantage of it and over-exaggerate their involvement in this. So we have to manage that very much on behalf of regulators and on behalf of the companies themselves. Thank you, Doug. Thanks, everyone.
Our pleasure. Thank you for sharing today. Let's now go to Jackie Chen of Alpha Haba. And Jackie is, I would say, also brilliant, also on the cutting edge from a technology perspective, and more focused in on the business of trade. And so, Jackie, thank you for coming. I think this is the first opportunity where you've presented what you're doing. Let us know more about that and how we can help. Thank you for presenting today.
Thank you for having me here, Doug. Yeah, so my business is more focused on manufacturing and global trading nowadays. My background is from manufacturing. I used to own a manufacturing in China back to 2018. And then after I sold my first company, I just switched to global trading. So nowadays I have a company in USA and also a company in Africa, Rwanda, Kigali. And I found another company we're doing artificial turf in California here. So what people can connect with me is who needs to buy anything from China. We do selling another kind of medical equipment, medical device to Africa. And also we have another kind of business going now from USA and importing from China, such as furnitures, winery bottles, and solar panels, batteries, everything as long as you can think about from China or buying from China. So I'm on a contact point. And the difference we do is we have another company in China, we have another capital. So the problem we try to resolve is most time when our buyers having business with China, they were scaling the product, and then we were more likely a solution for that. We were upfront the cost, and then we were pulling on a product, and then we were doing a DDP, and then we'll ship to you. So and then you can pay us if payment plan allow from the credit company, and most likely we can go up to 90 days. That's what we do for most companies in USA here. Yep, so that's kind of my business. Simple, easy. So just kind of trading. Love to do that nowadays.
That sounds good. Are you originally from China, and is that how you've gotten so many different connections there on different products?
Yeah, I was grew up in Fujian, which is very close to Taiwan, and then I went to Canton for my kind of high school, and then after that I immigrated to USA here. So my background, I stayed in China most of my life. Yeah.
Now you're in the Bay Area.
Exactly. Yeah, most expensive place.
What are some of the most important products right now that you have access to that people should be considering? It sounds like medical products is one area.
Yeah, we have I would say our 80% revenue is coming from medical product. So we do import another kind of MRIs, CTs, and also kind of X-ray machines or surgical kind of those kind of equipments from China to Africa. And then we do have some kind of FDA kind of stuff, like not really kind of huge equipment such as kind of the dental equipment, like the X-ray machine and also the laser machine to kind of to make the teeth wider, and something kind of small kind of product FDA allowed it, so we import it to USA. But majority medical product we're going to Africa nowadays.
Okay. How has the geopolitics of the world right now impacted your business?
I think so far that's the sweet spot about global trading. So nothing can be impacted. The reason why, because if this one is not good, we change to another one, right? So there's always a product fit on our business model in this case.
Okay, fantastic. That's great news. What questions does anybody have? Please unmute yourself. I don't see any hands raised. Anybody have a question for Jackie? Jermil is involved with importing, and I don't know, Jermil, if you get involved with equipment like that, but I know food products are some of the areas where you focus in on. Maybe you're familiar with some folks that could benefit with Jackie's solution.
Yeah, I can see if I meet anybody. I don't know anyone currently that imports medical products. I used to clear medical products before, so I have experience clearing them and classifying them. So but that's about as far as my experience goes.
Okay. So what are the products that you're typically involved with on a day-to-day basis?
Generally, recently I did, what was that? Shoes from France. I used to do a lot of plants, used to clear dogs. Right now I'm going to be working on wine soon. I have a client right now that's importing dead insects from Indonesia right now. It's a lot of problems with that shipment right now, so it's a lot of work right now. We're trying to figure it out, so we'll see what happens. Anything else that I'm doing? What else have I done? I did a motor.
Did you say dead insects? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like butterflies, beetles, things like that. He sells it as like a collection.
Ah, okay. I thought maybe it was like crickets, and so it was food material.
Oh no, not for eating. It's for like display in like a glass display.
I see. Okay. Well, that sounds fascinating. So very different than what we're talking about, but fantastic. That's great to hear. Thanks for sharing. Any other thoughts or questions, please?
I have a question. This is John. I have a question for Jamil. I hope I didn't butcher it. Yeah.
And John, what's your last name? Are you John?
Yes, John Akibe.
Okay, very good. And what do you do? Could you just kind of preface where
right.
you are and what you do?
All right. My name is John Akibe. I'm actually currently based in Houston, Texas. I'm into agriculture exports and also into buying and selling of gold. We have mining sites in Ghana, up to like 20 mining sites in Ghana for the gold. While for the agriculture, we do exporting of hibiscus, ginger, cashew, and some other commodities, agro-commodities from Nigeria, from from Zambia, and from Ghana. So we do that as well. So our major exporter to Mexico and to China. Dubai as well. So
Okay.
my question for Jamie is I am trying to do some exports. I want to do some exports of agricultural products to the US. I've never done any to the US, but I have some uh potential clients that have been requesting for my products. But I'm just being very careful to make sure I do my due diligence before I actually do any exporting to them. So I will want to connect with Jamie so I could ask some question in terms of make sure I do my documentation right for custom purposes.
Okay. Jackie, what do you think? Or
No, I think that's for the US custom broker. I think Jamie, right?
for Jamil. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, John, please reach out to me and we'll go over the requirements just to make sure you can legally import it. Sometimes you're not able to import depending on the country. Sometimes there's restrictions. There may be an import permit or special treatment required that we can go over. We'll look into everything. Just if you have any products, just provide the scientific name, the genus and species. And that'll make it a little easier just to make sure we can look it up right away.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll get in touch.
Thank you. Appreciate the question. Anybody else have a question for Jackie, please? I don't see any hands raised. Jackie, really brilliant. The business has continued to grow for you. What does the year look like for you?
Sorry, what do you mean? What's a year for me?
You know, are you? It sounds like what you're saying is an increase in the amount of business into Africa, and which countries right now are the hotbeds for most of your activity?
Yeah, major we are focused on the East African right now, like Kigali, Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Well, it might make sense to join the Global Chamber Africa meetup next week. It is East Africa focused. There's a particular speaker, but there'll be a variety of different East Africa folks on the call.
Mm-hmm.
So we get together once a month on Africa, actually more than that, but there's one call that covers all of Africa, and this month it happens to be East Africa. So please feel free to join that.
Yep. So where can I find a link? Can I find a link from globalchamber.com?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Global Chamber, and on the agenda, I don't remember exactly which day it is. Are you getting the newsletter?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
I'll pay my attention to that.
It'll be on there. Yeah, for sure. And we'll try to follow up with you as well after the meeting.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Doc.
Very good. Well, I think we have two other speakers and actually two other folks that were going to jump in, and I don't see any of them. Oh my God. Okay, so that's sad. So Cesar, are you there? And I guess I saw your email to one of them, and so both other speakers, and then also both kind of short introductions around. One of them was Jeff Smith of Factum Global, and they have a survey. And so most of you are members of Global Chamber. So it was in the newsletter this last week. They typically come out around Tuesdays. In the bottom of that newsletter, it talks about the Factum Global survey that comes out every few months. This one is a significant one, and it's talking actually about ESG and also just kind of global perspective. What's your global perspective about how you're viewing global business? So please feel free to do that survey. It's in the newsletter, and if you need a copy of it, just pop an email to info@globalchamber.org and we'll connect you to that. And then the other person I think that was going to jump in was Sunny Vu of HSP Group. And this was actually something that I'm just onboarding a new member in the EOR space. I think Catherine knows Matthew Kyle of WeConnect, based in Japan, and doing EOR and HR services across the world, where you can bring on employees more easily in pretty much any country of the world. WeConnect certainly has a solution there. and there are some others. That's an important service to know about, and HSP Group is another one that does some really outstanding work. And Sunny is not here, but be aware of HSP Group and certainly that capability. Does anybody else have any announcements before we close the room? We're close to top of the hour anyway.
Hi, Doug. Cesar here. Hello, everyone. Just put the link of the Factum Global survey in the chat.
Okay.
It's really like 2 minutes. It's very short. This is the 4th time we have collaborated with them. They're doing a really great job. What they need is to really find more leaders, executives outside of the US to fill out the survey. So that's where we're supporting them and sending this all to all the regions. And so I'm pretty sure they will be happy to hear from Japan, Catherine, or from China, Jackie, and from other places. So if you have 2 minutes, just go to the link and complete it. And so, by the way, Jackie, I was in a call today with the people at Burkina Faso, and they did mention about opportunities with medical equipment. So I'm going to follow up on that and make you a connection there.
That'd be awesome, Caesar. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, in that whole area of West Africa, we've added a lot of people on our team there. Burkina Faso, Mali, Togo, Benin. Certainly, we have a very strong chapter in Accra. Most of you know Ruby Golo and the team there, and probably Komi Klu as well. So, if West Africa is of interest, we have a very strong presence there. And Komi, who's many of you know, Komi Klu, he's actually was on a plane yesterday from the U.S. to Africa. He'll be there for a couple months. So, does anybody else have any comments? Phil, I want to give you a shout out because I had a conversation with, I think, a couple people you've introduced to me this week, and I just got off the phone with one of those conversations. He's from New York and from my area of Queens. So we talked a lot about Queens, New York, and had a lot of great conversations. I'm trying to find his connection here. I've got too much stuff to catch up on tonight, but thank you for what you do. And you're involved with merchant services, and you're based in Southern California, but you're working all across the U.S.
Yeah, correct. Thanks, Doug, for that. Maybe it was Mary Sadat, maybe because she's in SoCal. So, or it could have been someone in New York, but I hope it works out. If it was someone I introduced you in New York.
Mary, actually, I talked to a couple days ago, and she introduced me to another person. So,
oh, okay, it works out.
It's quite a list of folks.
Good. Okay.
Matrix was the name of the fellow from Matrix was the fellow that I just got off the phone with.
It might have been. I'm going blank here, but I'm glad you're able to connect with that person.
Does anybody else have any comments that they'd like to make before we close the room? Anything coming up from an event standpoint? Anything that you need? If you're a member of Global Chamber, do you have a need right now that people can help you with? And it was Shupto Mahub was the guy that you had introduced me to, I think.
Oh, yes. The CPA. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
The bookkeeper. Yes. Okay. Good. I'm glad you were able to connect with them. It seems like
and
he got a lot of good synergy here for kind of what his niche in the market is for his services. So,
yeah, he's ready to join. So I would imagine he'll join this week. So thank you.
And I hope you join locally, Doug. I thought Mary said you might join locally for one of our events in Orange County. I don't know. Maybe I misinterpreted her, but I thought she said something you might join, but maybe I'm incorrect.
I might. I didn't say yes or no. It'd be really hard for me to do that.
Okay. That's
but
fine.
Nonetheless, I thought what she's doing and what you guys have pulled together in terms of a network in Southern California is awesome.
Great. Okay.
Hey, Doug, if I can just jump in, Gloria.
Yeah, Gloria.
I just put something in the chat box, and I'm not import or export. Obviously you know that, but I am training and development. And Jamil, I think you just posted that you have something that aligns with training and development. So I'm curious to learn within the Global Chamber world, who the trainers are, who the speakers are, the trainers are. I know who the authors are. We did that part, but now I'm looking at my industry. and where I can connect there. And I would love to connect with other trainers.
Great.
Yeah.
If any of you are, and if any of you know trainers, connect them into Gloria. Most of you know Gloria through the book author program, which started with 10 book authors and now we're around 100. And that's now run by Dana Austin. Gloria handed that off at the beginning of the year. And now every other month we have authors speaking about their books. And then every other month, the opposite is a workshop on a writing book. And the first workshop was amazing. The next book author conversation will also be amazing because one of the most outstanding international book authors that I'm aware of is Terry Morrison. Her book, or series of books, Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands, came out right when I was moving to Japan. DuPont was one of her first clients, and it transformed my knowledge. I needed a lot of help. I still need a lot of help, but that book was instrumental, and she continues to leverage that book in a variety of ways, most recently actually with attorneys and designing solutions around that philosophy for attorneys. And so if you're not familiar with the book, definitely read it. If you're doing international business, Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands, probably most of you know about it, but Terry Morrison will be next Wednesday. Thank you, Gloria. I think that brings us to the end. Cesar, are you still there? And do you have any final comments?
Well, I need to add, we are doing a lot of different type of events. I know you mentioned a couple of them, Doug, but just in case, I'm running the one in Spanish. We're doing French. We're doing Portuguese. We are building something around the Olympics. So if you know someone that's going to the Olympics or is part of the Olympics, let us know. We'll be happy to add that person to the mix of ideas. And we're doing a nonprofit as well. Next Friday is nonprofit call. I learned today about a member in Cincinnati that has a very interesting business consulting firm. It's called the Business Hospital or something like that. And so they're doing a great job in Brazil. And so they have a nonprofit. And I think Chris Bennett, who was in the call today, he's going to be part of that as well. So we have many different things. Check out the calendar, check out the newsletters, and if any of those I mentioned are of interest, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
It's never been as important as today to be part of global business. The world right now is a little bit ragged around the edges. There are evil forces among us that are trying to divide us, and globalness and globalism is almost vilified, in fact, is vilified by many of the evil forces. And so we need to speak out. We need to continue to grow our global stature and impact. And so don't worry, it's all going to work out. However, it feels sometimes that things are kind of coming apart. So it's really important that you stay engaged with your business, stay engaged with the global tribe, and stand up tall for global business, because the more we do global business, the more we talk to each other, the more we negotiate and mediate, and the need for soldiers, the need to throw things at each other, the need to yell at each other is diminished. Stay awake, stay woke, stay global, and thank you for all that you do. Thanks for your support and collaboration. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you all.